WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. You know, I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, you know, it's obviously...
Stop scrolling, because what you're about to hear doesn't sound like another WNBA headline. It sounds like the moment everything changed. You've probably already seen the viral post screaming that Cathy Engelbert resigned after Caitlin Clark refused a new CBA deal. But here's the question nobody is asking. What if this story isn't actually about one player or one commissioner? What if it's about who really holds the power in the WNBA now? Think about it. For years, the league controlled the conversation. Today, one decision, one negotiation, one superstar can send the entire sports world into absolute chaos. That's the shift everyone is missing. Before you jump to conclusions, don't just read the headline. Look at what happened behind it. Every contract dispute, every CBA negotiation, every executive decision sends a message far beyond basketball. It affects salaries, expansion, television deals, future stars, and the direction of the entire league. And that's why this story has exploded. Because whether you're a Caitlin Clark supporter or one of her biggest critics, there's one thing you can't deny. When her name enters a conversation, the entire sports world stops and pays attention. But here's the twist. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. This isn't just about Cathy Engelbert. It's about whether the WNBA is entering a completely new era where players have more influence than ever before, and whether the league is ready for that reality. So before you decide who's right and who's wrong, stay with me until the end. Because once you see the timeline, the behind-the-scenes details, and what this could mean for every player in the league, you'll understand why this story is creating such a massive reaction across the basketball world. Let's break down what actually happened and separate the facts from the noise. The internet moves so fast that one dramatic headline can feel like a confirmed fact before anyone has time to ask a simple question. Did this actually happen? That's exactly why this story spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with claims that Cathy Engelbert had resigned after Caitlin Clark refused a new collective bargaining agreement. Thousands of fans immediately picked a side. Some celebrated. Others were furious. Comment sections turned into battlefields within minutes. But if there's one thing we've learned in today's sports world, it's that viral headlines often travel much faster than verified information. Before emotions take over, it's worth slowing down and looking at what can actually be confirmed instead of what people want to believe. That alone tells you something fascinating about the current state of the WNBA. Whether the rumor is true or false, the reaction itself reveals just how much attention the league now commands. A few years ago, a rumor like this might have stayed inside basketball circles. Today, it dominates sports discussions across every major platform. That isn't an accident. Television ratings have climbed, arenas are filling with fans, merchandise is flying off the shelves, and every major sports network wants a piece of the conversation. The WNBA isn't just growing. It has become one of the biggest stories in American sports. Every headline now carries enormous weight because millions of people are paying attention. No player represents that shift more than Caitlin Clark. Ever since entering the league, she has become one of the most recognizable athletes in the country. Her games attract massive television audiences. Tickets sell out wherever she plays. Fans line up hours before tip-off just to watch warm-ups. Companies compete to partner with her. Critics analyze every possession she plays. Supporters defend every move she makes. Like it or not, she had become the center of nearly every national conversation involving the WNBA. That level of visibility creates opportunities, but also creates something else, an endless stream of speculation. That's why stories like this spread so quickly. People don't simply react to the headline. They react to what they think the headline represents. Some believe Clark has enough influence to reshape the future of the league. Others believe league leadership should never bend to the pressure surrounding one player. Those opinions existed long before this rumor appeared. The headline simply poured gasoline on an already burning debate. Suddenly, everyone was convinced they already knew the ending before anyone had checked the facts. The conversation also shines a spotlight on something many casual fans don't fully understand: the collective bargaining agreement, often called the CBA. Despite the complicated name, the idea is straightforward. It's the agreement that establishes many of the rules governing player salaries, benefits, travel, working conditions, revenue sharing, and other key aspects of life in the league. Every negotiation carries enormous importance because it shapes not just one season, but the future of every player who enters the WNBA. Veterans care about it. Rookies care about it. Owners care about it. Fans should care about it too, because those negotiations influence the quality and growth of the entire league. When discussions about a new agreement begin, disagreements are expected. That's not a sign of disaster. It's a normal part of professional sports. Players want stronger protections and better compensation. League executives want financial stability and long-term growth. Both sides enter negotiations with priorities they believe are essential. That process can involve difficult conversations, public statements, and intense media attention. None of that automatically signals a crisis. In fact, some of the most important agreements in sports history were reached only after lengthy negotiations. Now think about why people immediately connected this rumor to Caitlin Clark. It isn't simply because she's a great player. It's because she's become a symbol of the league's new era. Television ratings surged during her rookie season. Attendance increased dramatically across multiple markets. Road games suddenly became marquee events. Teams moved contests into larger arenas to accommodate demand. Sponsors recognized an unprecedented opportunity. But popularity alone doesn't mean one player controls league decisions. Professional sports are much more complicated than that. Commissioners answer to owners. Players are represented collectively. Union leadership participates in negotiations. Team executives contribute their perspectives. Legal advisors review proposals. Financial experts analyze long-term projections. Every major decision involves countless conversations behind closed doors before anything becomes official. That's why extraordinary claims deserve extraordinary evidence. If something as significant as a commissioner's resignation actually occurred, it would be supported by official announcements and credible reporting, not just viral posts racing across social media. That brings us to another important lesson. Modern sports news doesn't only come from reporters anymore. It comes from influencers, anonymous accounts, edited videos, reaction channels, screenshots taken out of context, and emotionally charged posts designed to generate clicks. The more shocking the claim, the faster it spreads. Algorithms reward outrage because outrage keeps people commenting, sharing, and arguing. By the time accurate information catches up, millions of viewers have already accepted the original story as fact. That's how misinformation gains momentum, especially during moments when emotions are already running high. Ironically, the rumor itself highlights just how much trust fans have placed in Caitlin Clark's influence. Many people instantly believed she could trigger an event of this magnitude because they already view her as one of the league's most powerful figures. That perception says almost as much as any statistic ever could. It reflects her impact on television audiences, sponsorships, ticket demand, and national attention. Influence is real, but influence should never be confused with unchecked authority. Professional leagues succeed because they operate through systems, negotiations, and collective decision-making rather than the actions of one individual alone. As this story continues to circulate, the smartest approach isn't to rush toward the loudest opinion. It's to separate verified facts from speculation. That's often less exciting than a dramatic headline, but it's far more valuable. The WNBA is entering one of the most important periods in its history, and genuine developments deserve careful attention. Rumors may dominate social media for a day, but confirmed decisions shape the league for years. And as we'll see next, the real story behind the WNBA's future may be even more significant than the viral claims that first grabbed everyone's attention. If there's one thing that's become impossible to ignore, it's this. The WNBA isn't negotiating from the same position it was just a few years ago. Everything has changed. Television ratings have reached levels that once seemed impossible. Arenas are filling up across the country. National broadcasts are drawing millions of viewers. Corporate sponsors are investing more money than ever before. Suddenly, the league isn't just fighting for attention. It's managing expectations that grow bigger every single week. That success creates opportunity, but it also creates pressure. The more valuable the league becomes, the bigger the questions become. How should new revenue be shared? What should players' salaries look like in the future? How can the league continue expanding while keeping teams financially healthy? These aren't easy questions, and they certainly aren't questions that get answered overnight. That's exactly why collective bargaining negotiations matter so much. They're about far more than one contract or one season. They're about building the foundation for the next decade of women's professional basketball. Now think about the timing. The WNBA has experienced one of the biggest popularity surges in its history. New fans are watching games for the first time. Merchandise sales have climbed dramatically. Teams are playing in larger arenas to meet ticket demand. Television partners are seeing audiences that exceed previous expectations. In many ways, this is the strongest position the league has ever been in. But moments of rapid growth often bring the toughest negotiations because everyone recognizes that the stakes are higher than they've ever been before. That brings us back to Caitlin Clark. Whether you consider her the biggest star in the league or simply one of many outstanding players, her impact on public attention is undeniable. Every game she plays becomes national news. Every hard foul becomes a debate. Every post-game interview gets analyzed from every possible angle. Even people who rarely watched basketball before now recognize her name. That level of visibility changes the conversation around the entire league because businesses, broadcasters, and fans respond to increased demand. Here's where many people misunderstand how professional sports actually work. A superstar can increase attention, drive ticket sales, and attract new viewers. But league decisions aren't made by one player alone. Collective bargaining involves the players' union, league executives, team owners, financial analysts, and legal representatives. Everyone enters the room with different priorities. Players want better compensation and improved working conditions. Owners want sustainable financial growth. League leadership wants long-term stability while continuing to expand the sport. Finding common ground takes time because every decision affects hundreds of people, not just the biggest names. Social media doesn't always leave room for that complexity. Instead, every rumor gets reduced to a dramatic headline that seems designed to divide people into opposing camps. One post claims the players are demanding too much. Another argues the league isn't doing enough. A third insists that one individual controls everything behind the scenes. Those stories spread quickly because they're simple, emotional, and easy to share. The truth, however, is almost always more complicated than a single sentence posted online. That's why it's important to separate influence from authority. Caitlin Clark has influence. Veterans across the league have influence. The Players Association has influence. Team owners have influence. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has influence. But influence doesn't mean any one person can simply decide the outcome of negotiations. Professional leagues function through agreements, votes. It's a process designed to balance competing interests, even when those interests don't always align. The interesting question isn't whether one player can force a massive change overnight. The real question is whether the league can successfully adapt to its new level of popularity. More viewers naturally expect a better television product. Players expect compensation that reflects increased interest. Teams want to invest in better facilities, travel, and resources. Sponsors want continued growth. Fans want competitive basketball. Every one of those goals is reasonable, but balancing them all at the same time is incredibly challenging. History shows that moments like this often define professional sports leagues. Some organizations use periods of rapid growth to strengthen relationships between players and management. Others struggle because expectations rise faster than solutions. That's why every public comment, every meeting, and every report about negotiations attracts enormous attention. People understand that today's decisions could shape the league for years to come. Meanwhile, fans continue debating almost everything surrounding the WNBA. Some believe the current momentum proves the league should move aggressively toward higher salaries and expanded benefits. Others argue that financial growth needs to remain sustainable before dramatic changes are introduced. Those discussions aren't unique to women's basketball. Similar debates have happened in the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and professional soccer. Whenever a league experiences major financial growth, negotiations become more intense because everyone recognizes that the future is being written in real time. Another factor that often gets overlooked is the role of younger fans. Many people discovering the WNBA today consume sports differently than previous generations. They follow highlights on social media. They react instantly to breaking news. They participate in online debates before reading full reports. That environment rewards speed over accuracy, making it easier for rumors to gain traction before verified information catches up. It doesn't necessarily mean people intend to spread misinformation. More often, they simply react before all the facts become available. That's exactly why this moment feels so significant. The conversation surrounding the WNBA has expanded far beyond the basketball court. Business analysts are paying attention. Television executives are paying attention. Corporate sponsors are paying attention. Other professional sports leagues are paying attention. Everyone wants to see how one of the fastest growing sports properties in North America manages its next major chapter. No matter where you stand as a fan, one thing seems increasingly clear. The WNBA has entered a different era. The league commands national headlines on a regular basis. Individual players have become household names. Games generate passionate discussion across the sports world. Expectations continue climbing higher with every season. Those are signs of success, but they also raise a level of responsibility for everyone involved. And that's why the next phase of these negotiations will matter so much. It's not simply about numbers on a contract or language inside a legal document. It's about defining what the future of the WNBA looks like, while its popularity continues to reach new heights. The decisions made over the coming months could influence player careers, team investments, television partnerships, expansion opportunities, and the overall direction of the league for years to come. The headlines will continue changing. Rumors will continue appearing. Social media will continue amplifying every new development. But beneath all that noise is a much bigger story. One that isn't about a single viral post or one dramatic claim. It's about a league standing at one of the most important crossroads in its history, with millions of fans watching every step. And as more verified details emerge, we'll have a much clearer picture of how this next chapter is truly unfolding. The biggest mistake fans make during moments like this is assuming that every major change happens in front of the cameras. In reality, the most important conversations rarely take place during press conferences or television interviews. They happen inside meeting rooms where league executives, team owners, player representatives, and financial experts spend hours debating details that never become public. By the time fans hear about a proposal, countless versions have already been discussed behind closed doors. That doesn't make the process secretive. It makes it practical. Complex negotiations require privacy before final decisions can be announced with confidence. That's why every rumor surrounding league business should be viewed with caution. A single anonymous social media post can spark thousands of reactions within minutes, even when there is no official confirmation behind it. Sports fans naturally want immediate answers, but negotiations almost never move that quickly. One day, people claim an agreement is close. The next day, someone insists everything has fallen apart. Then another report suggests progress is quietly resumed. Until official statements are released, much of the online discussion is simply speculation mixed with opinion. What makes the current situation especially interesting is that the WNBA is negotiating from a position of strength rather than survival. For years, conversations focus on growing the audience. Now the audience has already grown substantially. Television partners have noticed. Advertisers have noticed. Corporate sponsors have noticed. Cities interested in future expansion have noticed. That changes the entire atmosphere because everyone involved understands there is significantly more value to protect than there was just a few seasons ago. Growth, however, creates expectations that didn't exist before. Players naturally want compensation that reflects the league's rising profile. Fans want growth, but each group views it through a different lens. That's why negotiations become challenging even when everyone shares the same overall goal of making the league stronger. Caitlin Clark's arrival accelerated many of these conversations, but she isn't the only reason they're happening. The league has benefited from years of outstanding players, improving competition, increased media coverage, and growing fan support. Stars across multiple franchises have helped raise the overall standard of play. Rivalries have become more compelling. College basketball has produced exciting new talent entering the professional ranks. Clark became one of the most visible faces of that momentum, but she entered a league that was already building toward a larger national audience. Still, there's no denying that her presence has amplified every discussion. Games involving her team often receive extraordinary attention before the opening tip. Television analysts break down every performance. Social media clips circulate within seconds. Opposing arenas fill with fans hoping to watch her compete in person. That level of interest benefits the league as a whole, because increased attention often introduces viewers to other outstanding players they may not have followed previously. One headline may attract someone to the broadcast, but the overall quality of competition is what keeps people watching. The challenge for league leadership is turning temporary excitement into lasting loyalty. Viral moments can bring millions of views, but sustainable success depends on creating fans who continue watching year after year. That's where long-term planning becomes more important than short-term headlines. Investment in player development, marketing, facilities, scheduling, and fan engagement all contribute to building a stronger foundation. None of those improvements happen overnight, but together they shape the future of the sport. Another factor often overlooked is how quickly public expectations can change. Just a few years ago, many discussions centered on whether the WNBA could attract larger audiences. Today, conversations focus on television ratings, attendance records, expansion opportunities, and business growth. That's a remarkable transformation in a relatively short period of time. Success has shifted the questions people ask. Instead of wondering whether the league can grow, people now debate how fast that growth should continue. Financial discussions naturally become more prominent during periods like this. Fans hear terms such as revenue sharing, salary structure, media rights, and collective bargaining without always understanding how closely those topics are connected. Increased television revenue may eventually influence future negotiations. Sponsorship growth can create additional opportunities for investment. Expanding the fan base can strengthen the league's long-term financial outlook. Every business decision affects another area, making negotiations much more complex than they appear from the outside. At the same time, the players understand that this moment carries enormous importance. Professional athletes have relatively short careers compared with most professions. Every new agreement influences current veterans, as well as future generations entering the league. Decisions made today could affect rookies who haven't even been drafted yet. That's why player representatives carefully evaluate every proposal. They're thinking not only about the present season, but also about the long-term direction of professional women's basketball. For fans, patience can be difficult. Social media encourages immediate reactions, while real negotiations demand careful consideration. Every rumor feels urgent. Every anonymous source appears convincing. Every dramatic headline seems like the beginning of a major turning point. Yet, history repeatedly shows that the loudest stories often fade quickly once verified information becomes available. The biggest developments usually arrive through official announcements supported by confirmed details rather than speculation circulating online. One positive outcome of all this attention is that people who never followed the WNBA before are now learning how the league operates. They're discovering the importance of collective bargaining, player representation, media rights, and league governance. Those topics may sound technical, but they play a significant role in shaping the quality of the product fans watch every week. Greater public interest means greater public understanding, and that's ultimately healthy for the sport. Perhaps the most encouraging sign is that expectations continue rising. Fans expect thrilling games. Players expect opportunities that reflect the league's growth. Broadcasters expect compelling matchups. Sponsors expect meaningful partnerships. Those expectations exist because people believe the WNBA has entered a new chapter filled with possibility. High expectations create pressure, but they also demonstrate confidence in the league's future. That future won't be determined by a single rumor or one viral social media post. It will be shaped by months of thoughtful planning, negotiation, and cooperation between everyone invested in the league's continued success. The headlines will continue changing from day to day, but the larger story remains the same. Women's professional basketball has captured the attention of a broader audience than ever before, and every major decision made during this period has the potential to influence the sport for years to come. So as the conversation continues, remember this: the most important developments are rarely the ones shouted the loudest. They're the carefully negotiated agreements, the long-term investments, the strategic decisions, and the shared commitment to building something that lasts. Those are the moves that ultimately define successful leagues. And with millions of fans now watching more closely than ever, the next official chapter in the WNBA story could become one of the most significant in its history. Not because of rumors, but because of the real decisions that shape the future of the game. Here's the question almost nobody is asking. What happens if the WNBA successfully turns this unprecedented momentum into long-term stability? It's easy to focus on today's headlines, today's debates, and today's social media arguments. But league executives, team owners, players, and broadcasters are thinking much further ahead. They're asking what the WNBA should look like 5 years from now, not just next week. That's why every major negotiation carries so much weight. Every decision made today has the potential to shape the league's future long after the current headlines have disappeared. One of the biggest opportunities is expansion. As fan interest grows, more cities want professional women's basketball. Expansion sounds exciting, but it isn't as simple as adding new teams overnight. Every new franchise requires ownership groups, arenas, coaching staffs, player development systems, travel planning, scheduling, and financial commitments. League leaders have to balance growth with competitive balance. Expand too quickly, and the overall quality of play could suffer. Wait too long, and you risk missing the opportunity created by surging fan interest. That's a difficult balance, and it's one reason leadership decisions receive so much attention. Another challenge involves maintaining the incredible level of interest that has emerged over the past few seasons. New fans often arrive because of a particular player or a viral moment. Keeping those fans requires something much bigger. It requires compelling rivalries, competitive games, memorable playoff races, and a league experience that encourages viewers to come back week after week. Sustained success isn't built on one headline. It's built on consistently delivering a product that fans enjoy watching. The players understand this better than anyone. Every season represents an opportunity to raise the standard even further. Veteran stars continue pushing the level of competition higher, while younger players bring fresh energy and new audiences. That combination has created one of the most exciting periods in league history. Instead of relying on one generation, the WNBA now features established leaders and rising stars competing at the highest level. That depth gives the league something every successful sports organization needs: stories that continue long after any single player retires. Business partners are paying close attention as well. Television networks want games that attract viewers. Sponsors want athletes who connect with audiences. Companies want to associate their brands with a league that continues growing. Those relationships generate revenue, and revenue creates opportunities to invest in facilities, marketing, player resources, and fan experiences. It's a cycle where success on the court helps drive business growth, and business growth can create better conditions for future success on the court. At the same time, expectations have changed dramatically. A few years ago, discussions often centered on whether the league could gain more national attention. Today, the conversation is about how to manage that attention effectively. That's a completely different challenge. More visibility means more scrutiny. Every controversial call, every close game, every coaching decision, and every comment from players or executives is analyzed across television, podcasts, and social media. The spotlight has become brighter than ever before. That increased attention also creates opportunities for players to build their personal brands. Athletes today aren't limited to what happens during games. They connect directly with fans through interviews, community events, endorsements, and social media. Many have become influential voices far beyond basketball. Their impact extends into business, education, and philanthropy, showing that professional athletes can shape conversations both on and off the court. For league leadership, balancing all these moving pieces requires patience and careful planning. Every major sports league has experienced periods of rapid growth followed by important decisions about how to sustain that. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many comments as I can, and some of the best insights come directly from viewers like you. Respectful debate is always welcome, because the biggest conversations in sports rarely have simple answers. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit the like button, because it really helps more basketball fans discover the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest WNBA stories. Breaking news, player analysis, trade rumors, and league updates. And if you know someone who follows the WNBA, send them this video and ask them what they think. Chances are they'll have a completely different perspective, and that's what makes these conversations so interesting. Thank you for watching and for spending your time with us today. Your support helps this channel continue bringing you thoughtful, in-depth coverage of the WNBA's biggest stories. Until next time, stay informed, keep questioning the headlines, enjoy the game, and we'll see you